Good morning. It's Thursday, March 11th. And if you noticed, Mike Pence has virtually disappeared from the scene. He hasn't been seen much in the last 2 months. That's 2 months since he narrowly escaped a mob of Trump supporters at the Capitol. A mob that wanted to lynch him for betraying the former president. Now, Pence, it is wise in his wisdom that he stayed quiet in the days and weeks that followed. He made a brief appearance at Joe Biden's inauguration, and then he journeyed to the Virgin Islands for a brief vacation. And now he has reappeared. So what brought him back? Why has he come out of, let's call it, hiding for the time being? Well, it turns out that he had an opportunity to spread the same disinformation about American elections that endangered his life, and it led to the deaths of 5 people on January 6th. So what exactly did he do? Well, he wrote an op-ed piece in some publication called The Daily Signal. And while Pence did not vociferously attack the election and say that it was outright major fraud, etc., he took a quieter tone, and he said there were significant voting irregularities, and there were numerous incidents of officials setting aside state election law. And I share the concerns of millions of Americans about the integrity of the 2020 election. Yes, this is the man who has the concern, but nevertheless he certified that Joe Biden was the winner. He did not listen to Donald Trump, who said, "You can stop this thing, Mike." And then Trump berated him for not doing as he was asked. Because Pence, deep down inside, knew that this election wasn't rigged, and that he had a duty to perform and certify on January 6th, and he did that. So we give him credit for that. But now he has returned, and he has focused his attack on H.R. 1, the election reform bill that the Democrats have been trying to get passed. In Pence's mind, the bill increases opportunities for election fraud. It will trample the First Amendment, and it will further erode our confidence in our elections. And it will forever dilute the votes of legally qualified eligible voters. Now, I'm getting to be an old man. I've been around a long time. I've seen a lot of elections. I have never seen anything like this past election. This past election was a victim of what I'll call the big lie. And the big lie comes from Joseph Goebbels, who was Hitler's minister of propaganda. And he invented the big lie. He said if you keep telling people the big lie, they will start to believe it. And unfortunately, Donald Trump started his big lie 6 or 8 months before the actual election, when he started in with the mail-in ballots, and there was going to be fraud, and there was no question that there was going to be fraud, and the dead were going to vote, and the people were going to collect the mail-in ballots and deposit them in the wrong pile, or just throw them away if they were voted for him. And so now we have Pence back from his hiatus, spouting several versions of the big lie. He claimed that H.R. 1 is the Democratic Politician Protection Act. Is he saying that the Democrats want to pass this law so that people can cheat during the election? How many of you have been around a long time and know that there has been very little election fraud in this country? And certainly the ones that have occurred have been minor. The largest one that I can remember was the race between Brian Kemp, who at the time of the gubernatorial race was the Georgia Secretary of State, and Stacey Abrams, who was a state representative representative at that time, and they were locked in a close election, and Kemp was accused of some chicanery with the results of the election, and being Secretary of State, he controlled all the voting in some way, shape, or form, and he won the election by 55,000 votes. So that's probably the biggest scandal I can remember in the last couple of years anyhow. There really hasn't been any major election fraud in this country. So getting back to Pence anyhow, he is now promoting the legality of all of these states that are trying to change their election laws in order to make it extremely difficult for minorities and opposition parties to win election in their states. Many states are going to abandon or tighten up the rules for mail-in ballots. Now, I'm in favor of some strict rules for mail-in ballots and anything like that, but sensible rules, And make sure that everybody has an ID. What's the problem with that? And don't pull that shit like they did with the Native American Indians in some of the western states, where if you don't have a street address, you can't vote. People who live on reservations don't have street addresses. They have post office boxes. And we have millions of people in this country who think there actually was fraud. And Pence is out there propagating the big lie. And when are we going to decide to get rid of the biggest fraud of all? Gerrymandering. How about that? How about doing away with that? How about doing away with independent election commissions which reset districts and everything? There's a lot of work that can be done to make our elections better. And I think that there ought to be a federal commission that helps the states do the right thing. I'm not sure that all the states have the best interests of their citizenry at heart. So we need some standard parameters that exist in all the states. And we need polling places that people can reach easily, not places where you have to drive 150 or 200 miles in order to vote. So there's much to be done. And I don't think that Pence is the man to get it done. And I think it's time that we invoke more big tech in our election system. We have fingerprinters. We have facial recognition software. Why are we not taking advantage of big tech? So I'll leave you with those thoughts, and I'll see you in the morning. Bye.